Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alfany. Once again, massive news. They're literally confirming what I've been saying, that the world will not be predominantly using Swift in the future if we continue on this trajectory. That's number one. I'm going to stick to that. I could be wrong, but I'm going to stick to that. Number two, the new financial system will dominate because we have reach and connections on both sides. This article here is from the dailyhodl.com. It's telling people, is ringing the alarm to let people know what's coming. It's titled Brics Reviewing Global Payment System to Bypass the US dollar and circumvent Swift. Why is that relevant? Well, at the last BRICS Nation meeting, didn't they say they had over 21 countries that were interested in joining? 21 more. They just admitted a bunch of new members over the summer, correct? All right. So you have the new members that just joined. You have 21 more countries interested in joining BRICS. That's significant. That's movement. Swift is in trouble. Their system is in trouble. Any other US and Western based system that's not a part of, that's not at the crux of the new financial system is in trouble. Their business is about to change over the next few years. Of course, not all at once. Their business is going to change forever. It's going to, what people knew of it to be, it will not be that in the future. But here's another little bit here that shows you why this is significant. Here's an article from May 18th, 2023 from Watcher Guru. 41 countries ready to accept BRICS currency. Now, see, they tried to shift focus to the local currencies. That's to take it's like a switcheroo, redirecting your enemy's vision, redirecting your enemy's focus if it's possible. And that's what they did. And yes, they've always been simultaneously working with local currencies, but their aim was always to have one currency that they could internationally utilize, sort of like what the IMF does with the SDR and such, and like what we have set up with XRP or XLM and Algorand, right? Another article, how BRICS and 41 other nations will halt US dollar dominance. You just look up these articles and you see where it's going. Now, it's not about bringing the dollar to zero. It's not about that. It's about establishing themselves so that in the future they could win. This is how I'm perceiving what their goals are. Also, to level the playing field, that also, and to greatly diminish the dollar at a time where the dollar, don't look at the DXY, look at purchasing power. The purchasing power of the dollar is terrible right now. It has only been going down and it's being greatly injured by its own country, really. We want to be real about it. So they're seeking that chance, that opportunity to do something that at other times they would not necessarily be able to do. But let's read this little tidbit here. It's so significant. So let me just jump right into it. My apologies, everyone. I have so many thoughts. This is an exciting time to live, because if this continues, then they will have to flood the new financial system with capital, and it could be bigger than anyone ever believed. But let's keep going. It says here, the Global Economic Alliance, known as BRICS, is reportedly considering the launch of a global payment system that could sidestep the banking industry standard SWIFT. This is in addition to all those systems that are being built like on the XRPL or on the Stellar blockchain, where they literally say they're trying to replace SWIFT. Keep that in mind. Let's keep going. It says, according to a new report from the Russian state-funded news organization TASS, the group's finance ministers are evaluating the feasibility of a unified payments network. So we've heard this same thing from the Bank of International Settlements recently in some of their videos and documents, where they're trying to push towards a unified system. And this is something they've been trying to convince other central banks of. And now you see BRICS nations is running toward, but see, here's the difference. The BRICS nations is not looking for a complete global unified system where the West is included. No, they know that the West is going to cut themselves out just by the West's own nature. So they're looking to unify only those who are willing to work with the BRICS nations plus. It's going to be BRICS plus, really. Right? It's already BRICS plus already, right? But that's what they're looking to do. Unite them right? And cut the West out. That's significant. That's highly significant. And a lot of what's going on is really going to depend on a lot of these geopolitical uh, and on boots on the ground situations. Unfortunately, just keep an eye on Taiwan. Keep an eye on that situation there. That's going to be very, very key and significant because the West can't approach the Taiwan situation like they do everything else. They just cannot. It's not about winning or losing. There's not going to be any winners in this. It's going to be a collapse of all global financial systems if they continue on that path, and everything will have to be rebuilt. And I think that's what they want. I really do. It's what everything is leaning towards. Why the great devaluing of all of these different currencies? First of all those other currencies have been weak, but the US dollar, once again, don't look at DXY, look at purchasing power. Look at how the dollar has been greatly diminished. Its purchasing power over the decades. It says here, Russian Finance Minister Anton Selunov says the network would boost independent efforts to create payment messaging systems. Quote, we are trying to introduce our final messaging system, the SPFS. Our Chinese colleagues have their own system. So they've been working on it. So this is why you have to read a myriad of different things, because they'll try to mislead you and say, well, we're just doing only local currencies after an entire year of talking about this one Brics currency. Then they quieted it down so they could work on that one Brics currency behind the scenes. Now, there's no guarantee they're going to be able to deploy. Who knows what's going to happen? But that's not the point. The end goal is not the point. We need to, that's in the future. We need to look at what's going on right now. And they're working on it right now. So that's significant, something to take into account. So there's no way they would stop working on something like that to exclusively over the next few decades only transact in local currencies. Leaves you in the same position that you were in before, where your currencies will be below the dollar, not on par with the dollar, not close to the dollar, right? They're trying to do something, or you would need to do something in order for it to be a multipolar world where it is significant and holds a more significant value and position. It doesn't even have to have a more significant value, although I think that should be the case, but it could be a more prominent position. Positioning is everything. Everything. What is a dollar but a piece of paper? It's positioning, the positioning of the dollar. What was masterful in the beginning. You go help Saudi Arabia, then Saudi Arabia, forces the transacting in dollars for all the moving of oil and such. Like, it's the positioning that was brilliant of the dollar, right? So they've all been buying tons of gold. Why? Like, you got to put these pieces of the puzzle together. They've all been buying gold. Why? Because at any time that they want, they can have another piece of paper if they want, or a digital currency. It won't be a piece of paper, but I'm using that as an example. A digital currency that they can back with gold, because that's how it all starts. You back it with a commodity at first, and then slowly over time, you start to remove the commodity, and then you just have this fiat type of currency. And listen, they love fiat currencies. It's a rinse and repeat cycle. Everything has its cycles. They have a rhythm to what they do. All right. And I just see possibly them doing that, what they've already done. Again, there's nothing new under the sun. I agree with that. And I think they will start out and they could back something. I think a couple of nations will do that. Back something with a commodity. It doesn't have to be the outright native token. It doesn't have to be that. It could be some other thing that runs across chain backed by that commodity. And then slowly over time, like they did with the dollar, they can remove that commodity and the necessity of backing it with it. And then it's just an outright fiat currency. Again, just a digital version, right? And I think that's one of the reasons they've been buying record amounts of gold. But let's read this little tidbit here. It's getting interesting, folks. And then look at how they come out with all of this news about the one Brics currency again, right when we're looking at MiCA legislations at the end of 2024, right when we're looking at what the ECB is doing right now, right? Go to that members only section, watch that last video. It's getting crazy. And I have another article I'm about to put out, another one that's significant in the members only section. I'm about to make another video. Things are heating up, folks. The people are not ready. I know they're getting burned out. I know, and I understand that completely. I get it completely. But these are the pieces of data that we have to share, and it's getting more and more significant with each day. These governments and regulators take forever to do things, but let's keep reading on here. It says this is why this issue is to be discussed by money authorities and financial agencies of BRICS member states. The news comes after BRICS, which we know what BRICS stands for. They go into that whole spiel. It says, when asked how Russia views the future potential of BRICS, Silanov said the bloc is focused on, quote, removing all ties from the West to the Southeast, unquote. And this is what I've been saying. How is SWIFT going to be the dominant system? They're in a battle. Let's just put it that way. They're in a battle. We'll see how it plays out. But as of right now, the rest of the world is tired of those Western-based systems, which means they're going to need a connector. Now, that's what it all gets to, that money. They need a connector, new financial system, Ripple, Stellar, Algorand. If they're wise, if they're smart, then they are positioning themselves to be that connector for the world. And they don't have to be loud about it. They can be very quiet about it. They probably should be. They probably should be quiet about it while they're setting everything up, because they don't need sabotage. And sabotage is heavy everywhere. It says here, in a growing trend that will, quote, persist in the future, unquote. The fact that they included their China, that China is also working on these things is very significant, because people may want to write off what somebody from Russia is saying. I get where they're coming from with that, but they made sure to let the people know, hey, our Chinese colleagues, showing them respect. They call them colleagues, showing them respect. They didn't have to say that. They could have just said China is working on this. No, they said our showing a relationship, Chinese colleagues, showing them respect, which tells me it's real. That's what it tells me. I know a liar when I see one. I know a liar when I'm reading a document, and this does not scream of lies. This actually screams to me that they're holding a lot of information back. But let's keep going here. And the West keeps injuring itself. You saw how they treated those banks that they allege helped certain countries with certain things, right? Recently punishing them. That the banks have a sour taste in their mouth with Western systems as well. Keep in mind the Fed issuing new regulations on capital requirements for the banks. Then the regulators, not the Fed, my apologies, going after Wall Street. And on top of that, them giving BlackRock a hard time. Listen, I don't know what's going on in the West, but they've been really pissing their own people off. Be careful. You get a Caesar situation going. You remember Caesar and Brutus? You ever read that Julius Caesar story? And then they all showed up with those pokey things. I got to be careful on YouTube. Can't say certain things. And then that last person puts that dagger in Caesar's back. Et tu, Brute? Oh, yeah, that was a powerful story. Powerful. Be careful of those Caesar situations. So now, this article here is from the cryptobasic.com. And it's titled, Top Crypto Author Reveals Reasons XRP Army Should Be Bullish on XRP Beyond Ripple's Endeavors. We're bullish. Like, I can't speak for everyone. I don't speak for everyone. I only speak for myself, but I'm bullish on XRP in every possible way. Every possible way. I don't care who's using XRP. I just want them to use it. Whoever is building on the XRPL, that's why I'm bullish on XRP. Not only because of Ripple. Here's what they get confused. Everybody reports on Ripple a lot because, yeah, Ripple does do significant things, but they put out the most news. They're not afraid to let you know what's going on. While every other company, they put out news every once in a while, and maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe they don't have a lot going on. Okay, I can accept that, but that's the reason why so many people report on Ripple, and Ripple keeps it exciting because they're always doing something innovative and big. That's all. That's the reason why. It says renowned crypto author Panos Mekris, known for his work, quote, Understanding the Crypto Economy, unquote, recently took to X to voice his perspective on why he is an XRP investor regardless of Ripple's actions. You know, I don't want to be an extremist in either direction. Just reading that, it's like some people, they don't want to seem like they're only there because of Ripple. I'm not an extremist. I'm not here only for Ripple. I'm not here only for the other people building on the XRP. I want all of them to do a good job. Simple as that. That's how the chain wins. I want them all to do a good job. I'm cheering them all on as long as they're working on something that has to do with XRPL and use of XRP. It's as simple as that. No need to prove anything to anybody. Don't have to prove to anybody like, well, I'm not only here because of Ripple. And no. Oh, the price is going to go up. No, you don't need to prove anything to anybody. It's like you have your own reasons for being into this. If people choose to stand together and walk forward as an XRP army, they're choosing to walk forward in strength together. But everybody has their own reasons why they support the XRPL or XRP, or why they're bullish, or even what price. Everybody has like these different prices that they're expecting, and this very little connection with each other. There's a very independent mind that I like about the XRP army. I hope they keep that. No need to be tribalist. I think most people are here for the bank money. So you could either the banks come and it goes up, or some people are looking to day trade and swing trade. So they're waiting for those, a little bit lesser, but still be delicious retail action. Everybody has a different thing that they're here for. And I can respect that. I don't know about others. I can respect that. It says in the tweet, Mekris emphasized his belief in XRP's potential. He attributed the digital asset's potential to its utility in the payment landscape. Yes, but in order for that utility to be used, you have to have it pushed somewhere by some technology, somebody doing something with it. Ripple is but one, but they're a significant one. Yeah, Volante's there. A couple of Zoom Wallet is there. Like there's a lot. SBI Remit is there. Like there's a lot of people. There's a lot of companies there, just like Stellar. Same thing. It says it's just like, once again, it just happens. Ripple does the most, and they put out the news. They don't hold it back. Don't get me wrong. I know they're holding back a lot of big news. I know that for a fact. But they put out a lot of significant news, right? Which is something that the people should appreciate. It's very difficult when you're invested in something and the companies say very little. And you're wondering, sitting around scratching your head. You hope that you know that the project has potential, but you have to sit around and hope because you don't know. You don't know what they're doing. No, Ripple comes out and says, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that. Volante's similar. They're like, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're building here. All right, which is a very good thing in my humble opinion. It says in the tweet, Mekris emphasized his belief in XRP's potential. He attributed the digital asset's potential to its utility in the payment landscape and the high efficiency of its underlying technology, XRP ledger. Moreover, Mekris pointed to the multitude of developers and projects actively contributing to innovations within the XRP ecosystem as a basis for his bullish outlook. Let's scroll here. All right, so we're going to leave that there, and let's move on here to another article. This one's from dailyhodl.com as well, and it's titled Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong says the U.S. needs crypto regulatory clarity to maintain the dollar-based soft power. Similar to what I've been saying, they need the new financial system. They're falling behind. This is why they're in a mad rush now and sounding sort of confused. They say 1 minute we may not need a digital dollar, but they're doing all this research on a digital dollar. We know the truth. It says here, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong says that it is, quote, really imperative, unquote, for the U.S. to have a regulatory framework for crypto assets. Armstrong says in a new CNBC interview that the U.S. is an exception among other major economies with regard to achieving regulatory clarity for crypto. According to the Coinbase CEO, the U.S. has a lot to lose from the regulatory uncertainty. If they don't act quickly, and I think that they will, they have no other choice. But first, I think we're going to see a few black swans before that time. I could be wrong, but it's all set up already for that. So just be mindful of that. I mean, do what you want, not financial advice. But if they get cut off from the rest of the world and lose the power that they have now, whoa, Nelly. And that's looking like what the rest of the world wants to do. They're tired of being ruled over by the West. It says, quote, the vast majority of G20 countries have already kind of put their regulatory framework in place. We've seen that now in, Singapore, Hong Kong, the UK, Brazil, in Australia. So it's really just the US, which is kind of an outlier here. And that's something that I think is very much within our power to control. In fact, I would say it's a national security issue. If we want the US to be relevant as a financial hub, tech hub, to project American soft power through our reserve currency with US dollar stable coins, no, you must not, sir, Let me pause there. You must not have read those articles or what they've been saying from the Fed itself. The Fed has begun once again saying that stable coins could be a financial liability. They could be a financial disruptor in a negative way. So, I mean, they want whatever it is that they're going to issue that they can control. That's what it looks like they want. And they're working on something. They always are. They just don't say anything. The U.S. they do a good job of keeping quiet at certain things and very good job at misdirection. I definitely will give it to them. But you guys keep pushing this stablecoin stuff. And I'm telling you, it's going to put a lot of companies in a very peculiar position if the Fed if the Fed comes out against stablecoins at some point, as they've been, their comments have been completely negative. And which is interesting, while XRP got regulatory clarity, which then, in my opinion, would definitely clear XLM and Algorand for clarity as well, since their use cases are so similar, in my humble opinion. So while native tokens stand to get clarity quite easily because of the precedent that XRP has set, and if you don't believe that, even Coinbase's CEO had an article come out recently within the last week and a half saying that the XRP victory helped Coinbase. So how much more would it help other tokens and coins that share very, very similar use case like cross-border payments? Get what I'm saying? So, but that's very interesting, isn't it, with that whole stablecoin dynamic? But they continue to push stablecoins, even though the Fed has come out against it. Look, it could be very good because it may force some of these companies to rely on their native token once again. We will see, though. We will see. So it's really imperative that we get this right, unquote. Armstrong further says that regulatory uncertainty in the U.S. is already causing America's global share of crypto industry jobs to decline. Well, yeah, sure. I've been talking about that for a while. A lot of jobs have gone elsewhere. A lot of companies have gone elsewhere. A lot of people have gone elsewhere to live better, to live better, to be treated better, more respect, to save a lot of capital, to establish very successful businesses abroad. Yeah, sure. And that's only going to continue as the harsh economic circumstances continue in the United States. You're going to have more people leave. Yeah, they're going to be going all over the place. So many beautiful places in the world. You just have to know where to go. But yeah, especially now with the digital nomad visas, right? You have digital nomad visas. You have what are those other visas? They're like, what are they called? Where you get like 20 years or something like that. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly. Absolutely. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but anyway, there's a lot of great visas out there for you to stay long term somewhere. And people are going to continue to increasingly gobble those up to find greener pastures, so to speak. All right, so now let's move on here. We have another article here. All right. Now, this one is a very interesting one. I love it when they talk about money. I like to have a good time. I do. So this article is from Bitcoinist.com, and it's titled XRP Price Predictions, the ultra bullish to the most bearish. Let's see what they're talking about. I like to read all of it. It says the future XRP price is one topic that has been keenly debated since Judge Annalisa Torres, the Honorable Judge Annalisa Torres, is ruling in favor of Ripple against the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, with many crypto analysts chiming in on the token's future trajectory. Now let's get to that money. Oh yeah, it says some have stated. I get excited when I when I talk about that money. I do. Who knows where it's going to go? I don't proclaim to know that. I'm not a psychic or any of that, and I'm not a predictor. I have my ideas. I keep them right here, though. I've discussed certain price ranges. I never gave my number. My number's up there, but that's all I'll say about that. But I like to hear what others say. Gets me fired up. It says some have stated that XRP could go as high as $10,000. I've seen that before. I've heard that as well. I've read some of the thoughts behind people who believe it could go to 10,000. If it does, I'll take it. I'll take it. It says, while others have taken a more conservative approach. Now, get this. This is funny. This is conservative. It says a more conservative approach. Oh, I guess in comparison to $10,000, says setting the token's price at around $25. What? Let me tell you something right now. $25 XRP is delicious to me. Delicious. How much XRP do people have? That's delicious to me. What? That's conservative? Oh, man. So anyway, first, I just want to get past $1 first. I keep things realistic. I have taken all the information so I can have 360 degrees of knowledge, but I'm realistic at the same time. I know things happen step by step. I've been through a lot of things in life. I've had my fair share of victories and losses. I've learned through all of that throughout life. And I know that everything takes learning and development, and it's a step-by-step process, not all at once. It says here, yeah, setting the price at $25 is their conservative price. That sounds good to me. It says, meanwhile, others have presented a bearish outlook before XRP can actualize any upward trend. Well, tell me about it. Come on now. Let's scroll down here. They're still talking about $10,000. Says more pain before any XRP rally. Says while the general outlook toward XRP price seems to be bullish, some analysts have come out to warn that there could be a further decline in tokens price before any massive rally. So, hey, we're keeping it balanced here. We read a lot of great information, and we got to know the other side as well, so we can make sure we're prepared no matter what may come. Now, once again, I've said this before. I think there's a few black swans floating around out there. And so we will see how that affects everything. All right. It says here, one of them is in TradingView crypto analyst who uses the pseudonym, the leading indicator. Well, what did he say? One of them is what? Oh, that's a person who believes that it may crash. It says, according to this person, XRP is unlikely to perform well soon, as he predicts that the token will decline to as low as 22 cents before Bitcoin halving happens in April 2024. Okay, so now that leads me to a thought. Like, so my title for the video other day was like moonshot coming. That doesn't mean like tomorrow or next month. That means that in this setup, that having, if we can acquire another national bank, then definitely a moonshot is definitely possible at some point in the future. That's what it means. But can the prices of everything go down again? Look, you have the possible loss of multitude of jobs. You know, it's already occurring. People are getting laid off left and right. So just if you haven't, you can look that up. People are getting laid off left and right. That's number one. More people are going to just outright lose their jobs because their companies are going to close down. Interest rates are too high. People can't afford to go out like they used to. People are maxing out their credit cards now. So they're not going to be able to go spend money at some of these small businesses like they were doing. They were living off credit for a long time. You can look up the articles on that as well. Question everything I say, everything everyone says, right? And it's better for you to know for yourself. So people are going, like, the liquidity is going to run low in a lot of markets. Then on top of that, for people to protect their value, they're going to continue to go to treasuries as long as they keep raising their yield. And they do. So they're going to pull money from a lot of these different things. People that have to pay bills may pull money from their crypto. People that want to protect their value may pull their money from crypto, go into gold or something, go into treasuries. Who knows? I'm trying to think. There was something else I was going to say. People that pay bills, people that have to, continue to fund things that they're doing, not just bills, but like, they want to build projects and for their small businesses, their digital businesses, they may have to pull capital because of that. There's so many things going on, that could lend to a price going lower. So yes, is it possible? Yes. That's what I wanted to say. The collapsing of the banks at some point because of commercial real estate, that could definitely add to liquidity drain. There's so much going on, we'll see how it all works. So like I said, trying to remain balanced. There's positives, there's negatives. We'll take it one step at a time. No fear in our hearts. We take it one step at a time. So we'll see how it all works out. So now let's move on here. I want to close out with one of these. We'll close out here. Okay. We'll close out here with this article. So, we've been talking a lot about mass adoption. We've been talking a lot about the timeline speeding up. You have the Brics Nation activity going on here. You have central bank activities going on all over the place. Like I said, once again, head to that members only section and just scroll down. You're going to see some videos, some postings there. They've been very, very significant. It shows you how fast things are moving right now. And this right here is another indicator. This is from Cointelegraph.com, and it's titled "Expect New Crypto Regulations to Follow Bitcoin ETFs." So that the Bitcoin ETFs hold a significant position right now as far as changing the trajectory of crypto as a whole. It says, will Bitcoin's ETFs attract more regulatory attention to the crypto industry? We can only hope, because many questions need to be answered. It says, aside from liquidity, what do institutions bring to crypto? Well, prestige is one. Crypto, it will make crypto a respected industry to have some of those legacy actors come. It's just the way that it is. That big money, a lot of it likes to be associated with respect. They don't want to be associated with things like Mom's Inu coin. I'm just making up a name, but you get what I'm saying. You can't have sophomoric, immature things like that going on. All of the pump and dumps and such like that. I mean, maybe that still continues to some degree, but they're going to eliminate a lot of that. So anyway, let's continue on here. It says, what precisely is their value added? It says, this is an instructive question to ponder because there is little consensus on what deeper institutional participation means for an industry that is riven with contradictions. It also will bring consistency. They're very consistent in what they do. Their techniques of trading, their techniques of investing, their spread of capital. A lot of times, if they know something is a moneymaker, you can almost predict going by certain rhythms, like how that capital flow is going to move. So they're way more consistent than retail. Retail is very inconsistent, very unreliable, very easily shaken. And that's a dangerous environment for people's capital, in my humble opinion. That's why I like the banks, and I not like the banks like as in I support the banks, but I like to take capital from the banks and big institutions because that capital is consistent. When you get access to it, that capital is consistent. So my vision is once those banks are involved with the bank coins or crypto outright, because you're going to have a lot of these interoperability protocol as well, that capital will be consistent. They have to consistently send paychecks out. They're consistently sending wholesale payments from bank to bank, interbank payments back to back. The B2B sector constantly sending payments back and forth. That's consistency that you can't get. They bring consistency. That's consistency that you can't get out of retail. And it's predictable. It's predictable. So there's a much more stable environment that comes with the legitimacy of crypto. I don't know if I said that eloquently enough, but I tried my best. It says here, the long-running wait for Bitcoin ETF approval giving pensions and funds exposure to Bitcoin may well prove to be a positive catalyst for the industry growth. But in focusing on price action, observers are missing out on the real benefit of broad-scale institutional adoption. The greatest benefit of deepening institutional adoption may be the regulatory certainty it ushers in, says tax and compliance. There are a number of areas where institutional involvement is forcing regulators to give straight answers. Chief among these are taxation and compliance. What trades can a business legally make? How should they be disclosed on a balance sheet? And what steps must it take to report these activities? Determining what constitutes a taxable event in crypto depends on your dominion. So that we know. I think we're pretty familiar with that. Let's go down to this section here titled Seeking Regulatory Clarity. I'm skipping a lot. It says, for those who already have skin in the game. Hey, using some of my phrases. I like that phrase. The sole traders, trading firms, family funds, venture capitalists, greater institutional involvement can only be a good thing. When the largest institutions decide they want in, it forces regulators to play ball. Not every provision that's consequently pushed through the statute books will aid the industry. Some will be asinine, but collectively they provide something that's missing for years: clarity. All right, so we're going to stop there. So I hope you all are having a great day. I hope you have a great evening. I appreciate every single one of you being here. I have to go start working on this next members only video. I'll see you over there. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.